Hi guys, so it's me Nicolette, and today I want to talk a little bit about intention. And I want to just demonstrate to you how funny it is that we can be intentional about certain things and just not be intentional about certain things, right? So when I was in university, and a few years after university, I used to get dumped a lot, guys. Like, my boyfriends or ex-boyfriends, whatever they are, they would dump me most of the time. Like, it always, like, and the dumping used to come like so unexpected. Like, I remember this one guy, like in high school, before even varsity, he didn't even dump me. He just arrived at an event that we were having at school. It was like a school trip, and he was holding another girl's hand, and I was like, oh, okay, ipelile, whatever. Anyway, so this trend kind of went on and on. And in varsity, I used to get dumped, and then like maybe a few years later, after my varsity years, I'd also still get dumped. And I would get dumped like I wouldn't be expecting it, so it will happen like out of the blue. And you know, like when you are not expecting something and it comes in like a text, and this text is like this long, and you literally from the first sentence you already know what's about to happen. You just scroll to the bottom to see where it says, I don't think this is working, I'm sorry, it's not you, it's me, whatever. So I used to get dumped, but now I used to be a texter, right? And my problem was that if I texted my ex-boyfriend, whoever dumped me, and they will respond, in my head, I will be given like a little bit of false hope, because, okay, this person maybe made a mistake and they're going to come back. And I started realizing this over years, that I would give myself this false hope and then would get hurt even more, because I'd maybe be chatting to this person and maybe they're being polite and they'll respond, but then like, on a Friday, I'll see them out in the club with another girl, and I'll be so hacked because I had given myself false hope during the week because this person was being polite, right? So I eventually got to a point where I said to myself, you know what, you need to get this change. So I used to do this thing of switching off my cell phone. And, you know, if I switch off my cell phone, the message is not going to come in, or I'm not going to be able to text out. So therefore, it was like a coping mechanism. And that started just not working, because now I was missing out on other people's texts and other people's calls, and that was not working out. So eventually, I used to do this thing where I would write this person's name on a piece of paper, and I'd say, do not text. And I would literally paste it everywhere in my rest room or in my flat where I used to live, just to make sure with every single time I wake up, the first thing I see is, you do not text this person. I used to even leave myself reminders on my phone to say, do not text this person, don't look at this person's Facebook, don't go through this person's social media pages. And eventually that kind of worked out for me, and I started getting a better coping method in terms of ukulahla, ukudampa. Now, here's the thing about date that also is something that we need to understand when it comes to that, is that we need to be intentional about getting rid of date. Guys, people always ask me, what is my date and what is my current credit? My current credit right now is just my home loan. I've paid off most of my things, and where I haven't paid off, I've bought cash, right? But my home loan is one of those things that is just sticking there and is in my face all the time. But let me tell you something that I know for a fact, that I'm going to finish that home loan very soon. And let me tell you why. Because I'm intentional about finishing it. I know to the letter T as to how much I owe them, how much they charge me, how much they are going to charge me of interest if I either put in this amount of money or take out this amount of money, right? So I'm quite intentional about the amount of money I need to pay into my home loan for me to finish it as quickly as possible. Now, this is another thing that people need to learn when they've got debt and when they're going into a spiraling debt phase in their life. And I call it a phase because it is possible for you to get out of debt. And I'm not trying to ridicule or make small of people's debts. But the reality is that the first thing you need to understand about debt is the fact that you can get out of it. And it's very important for you as a person to know that you can get out of it. But you need to be intentional. You can't talk about, I want to get out of debt, but you're not doing anything to get out of it. You can't talk about, I want to get out of debt, but you are not putting in the right things in place for you to get out of debt. And one of the things that I've found that really works is you need, and I used to be in debt. Mind you, in 2013, I used to literally live off Wonga.com, guys. Wonga.com, a personal loan from a bank, and an overdraft. That was me. Those three things, I was literally balancing off a broken three-legged stool of credit and debt. So I know. But the one thing that I did is, there are two ways for me in which you can tackle your debt, depending on what type of a person you are and how debt is structured in your life. But I speak about the one thing. The one thing you need to do is the same thing that you do when you go and you're trying to lose weight. You need to fight and find the easiest milestones. That's the first thing that you do. So what do? Is you label your debt according to how much you earn, how much you owe, and what interest you're being charged. And you look at the small one and you say to yourself, guys, I cannot get defeated by 2,000 Rand. That's how you look at it. You say to yourself, I cannot get defeated by this debt because I can actually manage to pay off this debt. Because the thing is, we look at our debt as a sum. We look at all the things that we owe. You'll be like, yo, car installment. Yo, whatever. Yo, I owe this store account. Yo, I still have that. Yo, I need to pay for this. And it looks overwhelming when it's all of it together. But when you start to put it down as an each item, and you start tackling it as each item, and David Ramsey says, put it on your fridge. Put it where you can see it every single day. And when you kick the ass of that one date, you scratch it off with a red pen, right? And you reward yourself because you need to celebrate the fact that you've gotten over that one date. As small as it is the way to do it so that you give yourself some sort of behavioral change. Because the most important thing about debt is that it is a psychological thing. Yes, you owe money. Yes, there are people that are coming down heavy on you every single month because they want their money. But if your behavior towards debt does not change, you are going to go into more debt. It's so funny because there's a thing called good debt, bad debt, and just there's a third one that nobody ever speaks about. The bad debt, everybody knows, store accounts, buying your furniture on credit, buying clothes on credit, now buying food on credit. That's just your bad debt. That is debt that is not secured by any asset. You're literally going into unsecured debt. I always say any debt that is above 15% is just terrible debt. And especially if you're buying luxury things that you can live off without, you are literally going into bad debt. Then there's a good debt, which is debatable. People say there's no such a thing as good debt. But I still believe that if you can get credit for something that is going to give you some sort of, leverage, or let's say you're buying a house and you're getting that type of debt, which is you buying an asset that is going to generate you some sort of income, now you're looking at some level of good debt. But again, it's a debatable conversation, right? Then you've got the ugly debt, okay? This is now ugly date. An ugly date is when you are being a Nicolette back in 2013 and you're using a personal credit card, or you're using a personal loan, a revolving loan to pay off your overdraft or your Wonga loan, your short-term loan at micro lenders. You're using long-term debt, which is not secured debt. That is an ugly date, my friends. And that type of debt is the type of debt you need to kick out of your life, because if you are not intentional about kicking that kind of debt out of your life, you might as well stay in the debt trap and you're going to keep cycling. Have you seen little hamsters and how they work hard on those little cycling little thing that they've got? That's exactly what you look like if you are dealing with ugly debt, because you're not going to get out of it. You're literally in a hole, but you are still digging at the bottom and you're getting deeper and deeper into this hole. So it is a lot of behavioral change, and it's so important that you create that milestone. Have you ever gotten good marks in class? When you get good marks, even in the next test, you want to get good marks. So it's the same thing with debt. If you can kick the first debt out of your life and you can kick its ass, trust me, you're well on your way to kicking the next debt. It's not going to defeat you at all. It's the same thing as losing weight. If you lose that first kilo, oh my gosh, you feel so amazing. You actually start to think you look thinner, okay? It's the same thing with debt, guys. You got to kick the ass of that first, at least the first one. Make it easy. You know, when I failed my degree at Rhodes University, I then enrolled for an easy course because I had to remind myself that I'm not stupid, okay? I'm not stupid. I know I'm not stupid. So I had to enroll for an easy course just to remind myself of that. And right after that, you know what I did? I went for the difficult courses. I went for the difficult degrees and I kicked their ass. And that's the same thing with debt. Start with the small one. So you start changing your behavior. Start changing the way you look at debt. Start understanding that you've got this. You are in control and not your debt. And I think you will be well on your way. Mwah!